Nuclear and UFO secrets are under threat. 10 top scientists have vanished or turned up dead since 2023. President Trump calls an urgent meeting in this regard and vows answers fast. Our next report unpacks the shocking mystery. Take a look.
They guarded America's darkest secrets. Top minds in UFO probes, nuclear weapons, space defense. Now 10 are gone, dead or vanished without trace. They operated in the shadows of classified hangars and buried bunkers. They were the architects of America's supremacy in space and atomic energy. But now, 10 scientists are either dead or vanished. Now the US President Donald Trump says he is looking into the matter and promises quick answers.
There are these 10 missing scientists with access to classified stuff, nuclear material, aerospace. They've all gone missing or turned up dead in the last couple months. Based on what you've been briefed, what do you think is happening here, and do you think that this is connected or totally random?
Well, I hope it's random, but we're going to know in the next week and a half. I just left a meeting on that subject, so pretty serious stuff, but we're going to be hopefully, I don't know, coincidence, if you whatever you want to call it, but some of them were very important people, and we're going to look at it over the next short period.
The list grows chilling. NASA researcher Michael David Hicks died 2023. The cause is unknown. Frank Mywald, another NASA star, gone. Anthony Chavez, Los Alamos staffer, disappeared May last year. Aerospace exec Monica Reza missing since June 2025. Melissa Kaslas, missing since June 2025. Government contractor Stephen Garcia walked out in August 2025, never seen again. Novartis biologist Jason Thomas found dead in late December 2025. MIT nuclear professor Nuno Loureiro went missing in December last year. Then in February this year, astrophysicist Carl Grillmeyer vanished. Retired General William McCasland vanished in February near Albuquerque home. Among the scientists drawing attention are individuals with connections to NASA, military research programs and institutions involved in strategic technology. Then came another layer to the story. Some commentators and online investigators have linked the mystery to UFO secrecy, hidden aerospace projects, and classified programs. No evidence has been presented to support those claims, but the speculation has spread rapidly. Officials have not confirmed any coordinated plot, but the fact that the issue has reached the highest political level shows the seriousness of the concern.
All right, folks, we are back here on WLTH 1370 AM. That is 92.7 in FM dial. It is 6:41 in the PM on April the 17th, 2026. It is Friday, and that means the future is here, and the future is now. The future is not looking so great, maybe, for a lot of these high-level scientists here in the country of the United States. Daily Mail actually had a really great breakdown of what has happened to a lot of these people. Now, you heard in the video, the White House has actually broken their silence on the disturbing string of deaths and disappearances involving scientists with knowledge of a lot of America's biggest secrets. We're talking about NASA and people like that. During Wednesday's briefing at the White House, Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt was actually asked for the first time about the 10 people linked to space or nuclear secrets who have mysteriously died or vanished without a trace, completely come up missing since 2023. This is what she had to say.
Scientists who have either gone missing or died since mid-2024, they all reportedly had access to classified nuclear or aerospace material. Is anybody investigating this to see if these things are connected?
I've seen the report, Peter. I haven't spoken to our relevant agencies about it. I will certainly do that and we'll get you an answer. If true, of course, that's definitely something I think this government and administration would deem worth looking into. So let me do that for you.
Yeah, so they're saying, look, they're basically saying we're going to look into it. But this has the potential to be something really big, considering a lot of these people had ties to America's space program. They had ties to UAPs, formerly known as UFOs. A lot of them had a lot of classified information in their skulls. So since 2023, just in the last 3 years, 10 U.S.-linked scientists and researchers who are tied to nuclear, aerospace, and defense work have either died or come up missing. Like, this is a full-blown crisis at this point. The cases include disappearances, a nuclear contractor and retired Air Force general just straight up vanished in the thin air, vanished. Some of them have had unexplained deaths with no public release cause of death whatsoever. There's been homicides. Again, these are some of the smartest, best, brightest people in our country. And for this many to meet these sort of strange ends has been, jarring for anybody who cares about, the space program or just, about life here in America, considering some of them had nuclear secrets. A lot of them had access to classified and sensitive programs. And so really you have these 10 cases which, some people are saying, well, it's a coincidence. I don't know. But there's definitely fear that this could be espionage. This could be some foreign country targeting America's scientists. There's been no proof, obviously. It could also be our government wanting to silence people who have a lot of knowledge about what goes on with the space program and what goes on with our nuclear technology. But yeah, the 10 cases individually are pretty strange. You have a situation like Steven Garcia, who was a nuclear weapons contractor at KCNSC, the Kansas City National Security Campus. He was last seen on August 28th, 2025, leaving his house in Albuquerque, New Mexico. He walked out on foot, just left his house on foot, carrying his handgun, hasn't been seen since. Just came up missing. He was in charge of all the classified equipment and assets, tens of thousands of dollars. He had high-level clearance, oversight of a whole lot of sensitive assets, and he just comes up missing, out of the blue. You have William Neal McCaslin, who is a retired U.S. Air Force Major General, who was the former head of the Air Force Research Lab. He went missing in February of this year in New Mexico as well. Completely disappeared without explanation. They are still supposedly searching for him. He walks out of his home. He walks out of his home. He doesn't take his phone. Doesn't take his wallet. Not his glasses. He wore glasses. He needed glasses. Didn't take his glasses. His wife says in a very disturbing 911 call, he may not want to be found. She said that he had changed his clothes before he left and that he was experiencing brain and mental fog. So I don't know. They actually found an Air Force sweatshirt a couple of miles away from his house, but they have not confirmed whether or not that belongs to him or not. And that's the police. He had deep ties to advanced military and the space programs. Maybe the most bizarre incident was Monica Reza, who was a NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory scientist. Come on, you don't get heavier than that. She had to be really, on it to be something like that. She came up missing last summer while hiking in California. She vanished while she was hiking. She's completely disappeared. She just appears to have vanished into thin air. She was actually walking with her friends. They were hiking. She was behind them, by a few meters, and they look back, and she's just gone. Completely gone. Without a trace. They look back, and she's completely gone just a second later. Nobody knows what's happened to her, where she is. The police brought the dogs out, the canines out. They started sniffing around the area, and they found a hat, and her scent stopped at the hat. So exactly, what is, this is really strange. Just a bizarre case. You have Anthony Chavez, who was an engineer at Los Alamos, which is probably one of the most famous labs here in the country. He disappeared during a walk in New Mexico. His case remains unsolved. A lot of these cases are connected to Los Alamos, where you have a lot of things going on there. Melissa Cassius, another Los Alamos employee, went missing last year. Virtually same circumstances as Anthony Chavez. She had a security clearance for sensitive data, and now she's just gone. You have Jason Thomas, who was the assistant director of chemical biology at Novartis and worked in advanced biochemical systems, whatever the hell that means. He disappeared just in December, this past December here. He was found dead about a month ago. You have Nuno Loureiro, who was an MIT plasma scientist, who was also a fusion energy expert. You listen to a lot of science geeks, they will tell you that fusion is the future. He was shot and killed in December. And so this man was a prominent figure in fusion research. Another very bizarre situation was this guy, Carl Grillmeyer, who was an astrophysicist at Caltech. He was actually murdered as well. And a suspect has actually been charged in his case. But this case was extremely bizarre because in December of 2025, he sees somebody walking on his property, and the man he saw walking on his property was this guy named Freddie Snyder. And this guy was carrying a rifle. And so Mr. Grillmeyer calls the police, and the guy gets arrested. Freddie Snyder gets arrested. He stays in jail up until February, where he gets out. The prosecutors drop the charges entirely, which is sort of bizarre because if you're going to trespass on somebody's property with a gun, a rifle, like you generally, it's going to be hard to just get all those charges dropped. That's legit, menacing right there. So on February 6th, the prosecutors dropped all the charges. And just 10 days later, Snyder goes back to Carl Grillmeyer's house and shoots him and kills him this time. And so Carl Grillmeyer was working on space mapping and asteroid tracking. He was a Caltech astrophysicist who was finding water on other planets. So again, these people all have ties to extremely sensitive projects that are could actually change the way we live and change our world. Michael David Hicks was a NASA scientist, JPL research scientist. He passed away in 2023, but his cause of death hasn't been publicly disclosed. He didn't have an autopsy at all. His obituary just asked for donations in his memory to go to Alcoholics Anonymous, and worked on missions like Deep Space One. And Frank Maywald, who was a NASA scientist engineer, he is also died, though we don't know exactly when. They didn't tell us when. his death has been reported. There's very limited public information. So, like, all this is happening, and nobody knows what is going on. And just today, I found another scientist. This would be 11, but she died in 2022. A woman named Amy Eskridge, who was only 34 years old. And it's alleged that she died from a self-inflicted gunshot to the head in Alabama. But the police nor the medical examiners have publicly released any details of an investigation ever taking place. Before she died, she was openly researching and trying to develop anti-gravity technology, a way to control or cancel out gravity, which could revolutionize space travel and energy production. So, you know, this is the anti-gravity propulsion that she is, you know, was working on has been widely discussed by UFO researchers who claim that this advanced technology is what allows alien spacecraft to achieve the speeds that they achieve. So what do you guys think? Give me a call, 209-885-1371 here on WLTH. This has been a heavy first hour. Like I said, we're doing spring cleaning here at WLTH. People keep walking by. I'm getting a little bit distracted. So what we're going to do, we're going to do some happy happies. Please stay with us here on WLTH 1370 AM.